Hello, welcome back everybody. How are you guys doing? It's been a while since I've sat down and filmed a murder makeup story, so here we are. Because to be honest, it took me a while to research this one because there was just a lot. I mean, he was just a horrible person, so there was just a lot of info, So, we'll get into it. He was just a horrible person. So there was a lot of information. Oh, look, I cleaned off my makeup. And I washed my face. And now it looks like I have a black eye. So cute, right? Right? Oh my gosh. I do not have a black eye. That was just makeup from previously. So, anyway. So, who are the story about? So the serial killer that we were talking about is the BTK killer, Dennis Radar. Let's get into it. I mean, first of all, he's a piece of shit. Let's just get that out in the open. Piece of shit. Okay, but let's start. Okay, so Dennis Radar was born March 9th, 1945. Oh, he just had a birthday. Happy birthday, Dennis Radar. He's a Pisces. So yay. It's his birthday month. Oh, he just had a birthday. He's a horrible person. He was born in Wichita. No, he was not born in Wichita. He was born March 9th, 1945 to Dorothy May Radar and William Elvin Radar in Pittsburgh, Kansas. That's where he grew up. Side note, I've never been there, but I know of it because, I'm from Kansas. But when I was in Emporia, the Pittsburgh, Kansas is Emporia's rivals, and so they're called the Gorillas, and the Gorillas are Emporia State's rivals. Gorillas and the Hornets, but anyway. Doesn't pertain to the story, my bad. Anyway, I know where Pittsburgh is. Anyway, so he grew up. Then he was born in Pittsburgh. Then he grew up also in Wichita, Kansas. I also know where that is. We used to go to Wichita all the time. And he was the oldest of 4 sons, Paul, Bill, and Jeff. I wonder what they think of his brother. What they think of their brother. Oh, yay, we're related to Dennis. He's a piece of shit. Whoop-de-doo. We're so glad to have him in the family. Yay. Okay, they seemed normal growing up. They just seemed like a normal family. Both parents worked a lot. But Dennis seemed to blame his mom for that. They were neglected because she worked all the time. I hate my mom. She worked all the time. She was never there for me. Boo-hoo. So he seemed to have it out for his mom. That seemed to be his problem and his sick little twisted mind of his. But he masked certain disturbing behaviors, as in hanging stray animals. Sick. Why would you do that to an animal, for one? What did that animal ever do to you, Dennis? Anyway, and then Dennis also had fantasies about strangling and torturing helpless women. And yeah, that was his fantasy. And then he would spy on women and then steal their clothes and wear them and masturbate in them. He was a sick freak. Sick freak. Okay. After Radar dropped out of college, he joined the Navy. Nope, not the Navy. My bad. The Air Force. Air Force mid 1966 to 1970. And then after that, he returned to Wichita and he married Paula Dite. 1971. Yay! He married the love of his life and she was so happy. And they had 2 children, Carrie and Brian. I kind of feel sorry for them, to be honest. I feel really sorry for Paula and the 2 children. Because, like, they had no idea what piece of shit he is. Anyway, so after that, he worked for an outdoor supply company for about a year, and he also attended Butler Community College in El Dorado, Kansas. I actually know where that is too, because from Emporia to Wichita, you pass through the El Dorado. I like it on the highway, just, you know, little FYI. Like, just saying, you know, if you're ever passing through Kansas and you want to check out the sights, just little tidbit there. But I bet they're not proud of this. So, never, you know. Anyway. So he also worked for the ADT Security Service, and he also, so in El Dorado, he got associate's degree in electronics in 1973. Yay! Yay for him. I still just think he's a piece of shit, so whenever he does something accomplished, I'm like, boo. Like, I don't really give a shit because he's just a horrible person. Like, I'm just... But that's my opinion. Strictly my opinion on, like, his... You know... I just don't like him. I don't like him. And I just can't not get past what he did to, like, be nice about, like, his accomplishments. So, anyway... So 1973, he got associates, yay. 1974, he worked for ADT Security Service. In 1979, he graduated from Wichita State University for a Bachelor of Science. Woohoo! And he also worked for Coleman. That is important. Very important. And then we get to the not so great stuff. So the first murders take place in 1974 on January 15th. January 15th, Radar strangles to death 4 members of the Toro family at a Wichita home. The parents, Joseph and Julie, they worked for Coleman. Remember, side note, he worked there. Remember that? Little tidbit. We talked about that. Yep. And the 2 younger children were there, and he strangled them. Yep. Leaving the older children to discover their bodies when they arrived home from school later that day. So the older children came home from school to find the bodies. And how horrible for those children to walk in and discover that. And, yep. He went along his merry way like nobody's business. Okay, so on April 4th, 1974, radar strikes again. And he, this time it's Catherine Bright, another Coleman employee. I don't know why the cops didn't put this together, by the way. He works at Coleman, they all work at Coleman, and like... Hello, connection, but nope, they didn't put it together. And so the brother Kevin is there. When Radar was there with a gun, Kevin somehow survives the gunshot to the head, but the sister does not make it. He stabs her to death. So brother survives, but I don't think he like remembered enough to be able to say who it was, or like there was no connection to Radar basically. So October 1974, the killer introduced himself to the police because a young man confesses to killing the Ortoros with two of his friends. And then the Wichita Eagle receives a phone call, directs them to the mechanical engineering book with the Wichita Public Library, and it reads, "Those dudes you have in custody are just talking to get publicity. The code word for me will be blind them, torture them, kill them, BKT. You see, he added it again. They will be on the next victim." And there were details only the killer would know. The letter also filled the killer's brand of misspelling and grammatical errors, along with distinct sexual suggestive signature that only the killer would know. So that's like his message to, because he didn't like people, staking claim on what he was doing. He wanted to be the one getting the attention. And plus, he had to, put his name out there, BTK. Anyway, so March 17th, 1977, the year I was born. And BTK murders a mother of three, and enters the home by the way of the 5-year-old. I mean, that poor little kid. Barricades the boy and his other 2 siblings in the bathroom while he strangles the mother, Shirley Vane. The children escaped, provided a vague description of Radar. I mean, they're little kids, okay. So I just can't. It's just so horrible. You know what I want to call him? You know me. It just makes me sick. Oh my gosh. Okay, December 8th, 1977, the BTK reports his next victim. Blinding, strangling 25-year-old Nancy Fox. Radar hands the payphone. Heads to the payphone, sorry. Heads to the payphone. Calls. You'll find a homicide at 843 South Pershing. And he said to the dispatch. That's what he said to the dispatch. Let them write to her. So, he really liked. He wanted the spotlight. What a sadistic butthole. I was going to say another word, but it's probably not appropriate. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I had to concentrate on that. Didn't want to mess up the brows. Okay. January 31st, 1978. The killer reaches out with a poem for the Wichita Eagle. It was received on an index card with a poem begins, Shirley locks will be mine. Unaware of the connection to Shirley Van, whatever, mail clerk forwarded it to classified department. What an idiot. And then they put it in the class. I mean, oops. Did the dude get fired? Of course, you gotta remember this is also in the 70s. February 10th, 1978, BTK threat made public after another letter. He just really likes writing letters. He's like, oh, let me write a letter. I'm so good at it. So he writes another letter. It angered him when he didn't get the response that he wanted. He's like, they're just not responding to my letters. I want the attention. So he sends it direct to KAKE TV in Wichita. Another little fun fact. That's the television. That's the news network that we used to watch in southwestern Kansas. Just thought you guys would love to know that. Little fun little factoid. That's what we watched. So I was excited. I was like, ooh, we watched that. I mean, anyway, how many people, this is what he said to the network, to the TV show. How many people do I have to kill before I get my name in the paper on national attention? Like, he was salty about it too. Like, how many people do I have to kill to get national? Salty. He was very salty about it. Jeez. And he gave suggestions for his nicknames. Well, like, he just really wanted a name. BTK Strangler, the Wichita Hangman, or the Asphyxiator. I mean, he just really wanted, the attention. His mom didn't pay attention to him. He has mommy issues. I forgot. My bad. Okay. Okay, so Wichita Police Chief Richard Lamon calls a news conference the presence of the BTK Strangler. I guess that's the name we will. The BTK Strangler in the area. It says, in the conference, we have no reason but to believe the individual has the capability to kill again. He's going to kill. The capability to kill again. Heck yeah, he's going to. He's a psychopath. He's flipping crazy. April 28th, 1978. Radar waits for Anna Williams, but gives up because she took too long returning him. I bet she was so thrilled, like when she found that out, like, whew, like, oh my gosh, so glad I took so long. Oh my gosh, because so 2 months later, she receives mail with the personal items with the poem titled, "Oh Anna, why didn't you appear?" She's like, she was probably like, yay, I'm going to be late to everything from now on. From now on, late. Saved her life. I mean, she probably tells that to everybody. Saved my life. Being late. 10 minutes to late to everything now. Boom. I'm sure she didn't do that, but oh my gosh. That would be freaky though. That's freaky. That is super scary. I would freak out. Anyway, August 14th, 1979, BTK's phone call was broadcast, seeking help from the public. The police released the recording of the BTK's December 1977 phone call report with the phone call that he with the Nancy Fox, the one that he called and said, you know, for the death. Tips came pouring in. Nothing really came of it because nothing like related back to Dennis. Like nobody knows who the BTK was. Like I don't know what those cops in Wichita were doing and why nobody could find this guy. And why nothing traced back. And why didn't they figure out the Coleman thing? Oh, they all worked at Coleman. I mean, I guess it's easy, like, looking back at the info to say, oh, like, this is linked and linked. But maybe when you're looking at it back then, it wasn't so easy. 1984, they formed the Ghostbusters. Chief LaMune, whatever his name is, established a task force devoted to the BTK crimes and nicknamed the Ghostbusters. Officer Ken Lanwu. I cannot talk or pronounce last names. I feel like you guys know that now. You know? April 27th, 1985, Dennis Radar's neighbor is strangled. Yeah. Horrible. But after the evening of bingo and dinner with her boyfriend, 53-year-old Maureen Hedge was taken from her home of the suburbs to Park City, just down the street from Radar's house. She was found 8 days later, and police failed to make the connection of her murder to the BTK. Like, nobody was like, oh, it's definitely the BTK. Nobody made that connection. Why not? I mean, you almost think that they would, like, because of everything going on, like, definitely BTK. I mean, I would think so. But what do I know? I'm trying to... No, I should have, like, palettes set out before I start, so that way I'm not, like, looking... Okay, I'm just gonna grab one and... No. We're just gonna go with this one. Okay. So... September 16th, 1986, a husband takes the blame for the work of the BTK. Bill Wingert returns home from lunch to find his 2-year-old son was sitting by himself and Vicky dead in their bedroom. And the absence of the other incredible evidence, the husband becomes the primary suspect in the death of Vicky. So, like, there was no evidence that he really did it, but the police just jumped to the conclusion that he was guilty of her death, not relating it to the BTK at all. And so the husband just kind of took the blame. January 19th, 1991, BTK kills for the final time. I mean, this guy started it in the 70s and it's already to 90s and he hasn't been stopped. Like, are you flipping kidding me? And there's a whole task force for him. What the? Like, I could not believe that. But anyway. So, BTK kills for the final time. BTK throws a cinder block through the sliding door of a home of Dolores Davis and strangles her to death. Leaves the body by the bridge. And so, that was the final time he kills. And then, you know, he disappears. BTK, nothing. Nobody hears from him. Nobody, like, he's gone. BTK, who, like, everybody who's just a bad nightmare. And then, Wichita Eagle, January 2004, decides to run a 30th anniversary piece of the BTK. 3 decades after they're first killed, the Wichita Eagle prints an article recalling the terror of the BTK killer in the 1970s, faded memory. And Radar, he even admitted that article is what sparked his alter ego. Like, that brought that back out, and he was like, boom, I gotta get back in the game. I need to get back out there and do some damage, because that sounds awesome. Anyway, I'm paraphrasing. I doubt he said that. Anyway, March 19th, 2004. I even remember this in the news, like when they found him. But anyway, BTK announces his return. The Wichita Eagle receives an envelope just had to change my battery real quick. Okay, so the Wichita Eagle runs the 30th anniversary of the BTK. That brings him back. March 19th, 2004, BTK announces his return. Driver's license of Vicky Wegler's shows up at the Wichita Eagle. Photos of her and the BTK's distinct signature, chilling message links the unsolved case to the BTK. So that's because I don't know where the other one, you know. Okay, so May 5th, 2004, BTK teases with a puzzle BTK's next outreach mail. And he does KAKETV. A phony ID chapter titles BTK biography. And then finds the letter grid spelling out clues like prowl and fantasies. The letters, realized later, actually spells RADER, radar. And numbers are 6220, his street address. And Wichita police, what the hell? Just saying. What the hell? Why didn't you? I mean, okay. December 13th, 2005, BTK leaves another disturbing package. BTK leaves messages in various public locations. A man walking through Wichita, Murdoch, stumbles on a garbage bag containing a Nancy Fox driver's license and a Barbie doll with a hood over its head, arms tied behind its back. He's a weirdo. I mean, he's just a weirdo. And then, January 25th, 2005, a postcard points to more clues. Acting on instructions from the postcard mailed to KAKTV, please find a cereal box on the road outside Wichita containing graphic description of BTK first murders. And another doll has found, fashioned to death, positions in another section of a postcard, which inquires whether the package was found on the local Home Depot and proves more interesting to authorities. But, I mean, it just gets weirder and weirder. I mean, I think it's almost like he wants to be found, or just wants I mean, he just really likes the police kind of chasing, going around in circles. But, I mean, it's almost like he wants, like, the recognition for himself. Like, he really likes the attention. He's a weirdo. After poking around, the distorted investigations learned one of the employees found a cereal box on the bed of pickup truck, and the search of the trash products that the box messages asking the BTK communicate via computer floppy disk, and being traced, the police were told, Rex, it will be okay. Okay, and then January 28th, okay, yeah, January 28th, police signaled BTK through the newspaper after undercover detective makes arrangement with the Wichita Eagle. Classified ad saying, Brexit will be okay. Contact me at P.O. Box. First four ref numbers of the 67202. 6 days later, BTK confirms the receipt of the message through another postcard sent to KAKE TV. On February 16th, 2005, a computer disk breaks the case wide open. Finally, after how long this case is like finally opening up. Like, oh my gosh. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, these poor family members. 1970s is all I'm saying. This is when they've happened. Okay. A computer disk arrived in mail relayed to cyber cop Randy Stone, who uncovers BTK message about checking the index card for information along with hidden metadata disk. It reveals the disk have been used by Dennis at Christ Lutheran and Park City Library. Research at the Christian Lutheran Church reveals the name of the president, Dennis Radar. DNA evidence carefully preserved by the Ghostbusters Lieutenant Landwehr and his team at the hospital for one of the pap smears done on one of the victims. They turned over the sample of the DNA, which was a match to the BTK. Yay! They finally got somewhere. I mean, what the flippin'? Are you flipping kidding me? It only took how long? Okay. February 25th, 2005, Radar is arrested. He is at home having lunch with his wife. Radar is pulled over by a line of police officers, police cars, trailing him and taking him into custody. He confessed after being confronted with DNA evidence and enjoyed what he believes is a bonding session with law enforcement and agents. Like, he's just like, what? He's an idiot. Although he is plainly irritated with Landwehr, lied to him about the security of communications via computer disk, BTK's arrest of Wichita City Hall next day, the crowd applauded his arrest. Like, I mean, he terrorized this town for how long? Of course they applauded. They're like, get this out. April 19th, 2005, Radar waives his right to a preliminary hearing. The scheduled hearing ends after a few short minutes. Knowledge of the defense and state prosecutors enough evidence to send the case to trial. 2 weeks, the judge enters a not guilty plea for Radar, and he just sits quietly. He's like, nothing to say. June 27th, 2005, Radar pleads guilty to the BTK's killing, catching prosecutors completely off guard. By pleading guilty to 10 counts of first-degree murder, Radar provides the court with explicit details on how he selected stock, finally killing each of his victims. His lawyer later notes that they went with the guilty plea due to the overwhelming evidence against the client and lack of legal footing on which to enter an insanity plea. Flipping right. Like, oh my gosh. Yes, he is like a freaking psychopath, but he deserved to go to stinking. He was not. He was completely of his. He's horrible. Anyway, August 18th, 2005, Radar is sentenced to 10 consecutive life sentences. In a prison, 2 days of sentences hearings features testimonies from investigators. Radar's documentation of his tortures fueled sexual fantasies, emotional pleas of the victims' families, an apology from the convicted killer who expressed hope that the families will one day forgive him. I mean, I don't know. Like, to one day forgive him? That's a pretty tall order to forgive some. Like, he did a horrible thing to them. Anyway, having committed his murders before Kansas reintroduced the death penalty in 1994, BTK killer received the sentence of 10 consecutive life terms in prison for a minimum of 175 years without the possibility of parole. So, I mean, I guess he was convicted at the right time, so he's just sitting in prison, forever. I mean, because they're not going to kill him, so he's lucky on that, I guess. But, wow. He's horrible. Okay. So, I wrote down some interesting facts about the whole case. And he's still, alive today. So he's just rotting away in a Kansas prison. But I kind of thought some interesting facts. So, in his, cooling off period, he said, he had some, periods between the murders. Radar would take pictures of himself wearing the women's clothing of the females and mask white he bound, and later he admitted he was pretending to be the victims as a part of a sexual fantasy. So he would dress at them and pretend to be them, and that was kind of his fantasy and a tribute to. It's weird. He's just a weird person. And it's kind of messed up. That's weird. I don't know. Anyway, so then on July 26, 2005, when Radar was arrested, his wife was granted an emergency divorce, waiving the normal waiting period, which I found that kind of interesting because I always wondered in these stories, what happens to the spouse? Are they stuck married to those piece of shits? Like, they have to, like, stay married to them, or do they get, like, or do they even want out? Like, you know, like, obviously she didn't. She wanted out, so she divorced him. I mean, but I always kind of wondered that. Did anybody else, like, kind of wonder that? Because that would be horrible to be. I'm like, she has 2 kids with him. Like, I wouldn't want my kids to be associated with that piece of shit. Like, I'd be, bye. Nice, not nice. I mean, I don't know. What's everybody's thoughts on that? Like, would you guys, I don't know. So anyway, so then 2019, Rado's daughter Kelly, she still writes letters to her father and has forgiven him, and says that, you know, she still struggles, like, kind of distinguishing between her father and the BTK killer, because, like, growing up, like, her father, like, the man that was her father was a good guy. Like, when he was you know, in the father role, like, he was good to her. But, you know, she didn't know him as the BTK, obviously. And so that's kind of, like, weird for her to think of him that way, I guess. But, I mean, that would be hard to think of your father as, like, a cold-blooded killer like that. So that's what, you know. But she said her childhood was fairly normal, and, like, you know, it was like everybody else's, except for her father was a psychopath killer. You know, I don't know. You kind of gotta feel sorry for his kids, though, like, to have such, you know, I mean, their whole world was, like, turned upside down because their father was a crazy psychopath. Okay. Radar is now in solitary confinement for his protection. They keep him locked away, basically, because, you know, not a lot of people like him. He gets 1 hour of exercise a day, 3 per week. 2006, he gets to watch TV and radio and magazines and some other privileges for good behavior. Good for you. You know, so that's all he really gets to look forward to. I mean, so that is the horrible, awful story of Dennis Rader, the BTK. I mean, once again, he's just a piece of shit. And I just really, I don't know what else to say about him except for that. And so that is it, boys and girls, about the BTK. What are your thoughts? Who do you guys want to hear about next? If you guys have any suggestions, please put them down below. Hope you enjoyed this horrible story. And I can't wait to see you guys again. I'll see you guys next time. And please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit the like button and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.